All right, welcome back to this Championship Round show. We're continuing our introduction to the book of James. Today, or on this episode, it's still Saturday, July 25th, we're going to talk about the literary genre or the style of James. So, of course, it's in the form of a letter. And that was a real broad category in the ancient world. It encompassed everything from brief notes of information and request to long argumentative discourses. Now, James occupies a distinctive position in the New Testament because it blends multiple literary forms rather than belonging to a single genre. The book functions as wisdom literature, the only New Testament work that does that, drawing the closest parallels to Proverbs and Ecclesiastes of the New Testament or the Old Testament. It's built on individual proverbs and sayings, and they're often grouped together around unified topics such as the discussion of speech in chapter 3. However, James can't be reduced to wisdom literature alone. While the opening salutation marks it as a letter, only that first verse really belongs to the letter format. The remainder resembles what they call a paranesis. What is that? These are sections found in the New Testament epistles. They're just continuous commands and rules for living. So that's the paranesis. James functions more as a literary than a personal letter, most closely resembling or paralleling 1 John of the New Testament in its extent of audience rather than addressing specific communities or individuals. The diatribe, an ancient popular form of street preaching, significantly shapes James' rhetorical approach, evident in his imaginary dialogues, direct addresses to absent opponents, questioning and answer constructions, vivid metaphors drawn from nature and daily life, and harsh rebukes. It's all in James, trust me. Satire also appears throughout, particularly in individual units where James attacks vice and folly through rebuke and brief vignettes, such as the passage on partiality in James 2, verses 1 through 7. Starts off as suppose a man comes into your meeting. We'll go through it later. The author's practical aim, instilling right thinking and correct behavior, gives the book its functional subtitle, Faith That Works. The text moves rapidly between topics without clear logical connections, and this is something scholars have wrestled with and continue to wrestle with, lacking an obvious structure or unified theme. As moral exhortations follow one another with minimal relationship. So this genre complexity, combining the form of a letter, wisdom sayings, diatribal rhetoric. What is that? That's diatribal rhetoric is an ancient philosophical and argumentative style. It features sharp criticism, fictional dialogue, and rhetorical questions. And he also has satire in James. It makes James a uniquely multifaceted text designed for practical Christian instruction across diverse audience. Anybody and everybody can relate to James. 4 key features of James need to be considered when identifying its form and structure. 1, the strong tone of pastoral exhortation, not so much to inform as to command, exhort, and encourage. 2, the looseness of its structure. You'll see it when you read it. The logical relationship of the topics is often not at all clear. And as I said earlier, they've wrestled with this for centuries. You'll notice, especially when listening to this on an audio Bible, as it moves quickly through. I think I mentioned that last episode. Number 3, James' extensive use of metaphors and illustrations. These images are universal in their appeal and go a long way toward accounting for the popularity of James among us, the ordinary people, the ordinary readers, the people that just live in day to day. We relate to this stuff. 4, the degree to which it borrows from traditional teaching depends more than any other New Testament author on the teaching of Jesus. He weaves Jesus' teaching into the very fabric of his own teaching. The closest parallels to James' wording are found in the teaching of Jesus, especially recorded in the Gospel of Matthew. And there's also allusions to Luke in there. And that's one of the strong points of building when you talk about authorship in our next episode of him being so closely connected to Jesus. Anyway, I do have a chart. That's what I was going to say. That shows 13 or 14 allusions to the words of Jesus, as we mentioned there just before. Now we have to remember this too, as we look at the dating of James, that the Gospels were not even circulating at the time that James was written, depending on the dating. Like I said, there's some who believe 62, even earlier. Some go as low as the mid 40s, that and it being the first New Testament book written. Anyway, so we'll continue on. As the great British scholar said, Richard Bauckham, one of my favorites, he puts it this way: James does not repeat it; he is inspired by it. The words of Jesus. He does something that they call emulation, an ancient style of communicating, where he takes something, he internalizes it, and then he kind of repurposes it. It's not that he's stealing from it; he's inspired by it, as Bauckham said there. So this has been uh, episode 2 of the introduction to James, much shorter than the first one, but that's okay. We'll cover the authorship of James in our next episode, and maybe even the occasion for the writing of James and the dating of James. Hope that you're having a great Saturday. We will see you on the next one, and I hope that you keep tuning in and keep watching the show or listening to the show until we can figure out how we're going to do the video. I'm having a lot of trouble with my laptop, and I don't want to. I want to connect my phone to my laptop, and I used to be able to do that. Having trouble with that, so pray for us as we try to work out the kinks on the Championship Round Show. We will see you on the next one. Bye bye, and God bless.